Good morning, students. We'll be starting from where we had left. As you might have noticed, the situation as far as the weather is not congenial, and we opted for this particular method. In the last lecture, which we had worked upon, was the topic of commensalism. And we had learnt about that this is the interaction between the two species where one is neither getting harmed or other one is not getting benefited. But one species tends to get a benefit out of it. So it is a situation in which where one species is having the lucrative condition of having the benefits and the other one is staying neutral. Coming on to the very last topic of this particular chapter, we will be talking about the mutualism. Now, this is a situation in which the two different species which are interacting with one another tends to benefit and neither one is getting harmed. This mutualism had been taught down the line all the way from class 9, where we had learnt about a specific term called as symbiotic relationship. Now, same thing is out here, and the heading now says it is mutualism. So it is interaction where both interacting species are getting benefits. And as I have just said, the previous places where we had learnt about them, we had learnt about the lichens, where a mutualistic relationship happens to be developing between the fungus and photosynthesizing algae or the cyanobacteria. Otherwise also we have learnt about mycorrhizae, an association which is seen between the fungi and the roots of higher plants, and especially in the higher plants we had learnt about the pine tree, where the fungus which is growing in the root system of the plant helps in absorption of the essential nutrients, especially we talk about as the phosphorus from the soil, which helps making the seed of the pine viable, and in turn the plant is providing the fungi with the energy yielding carbohydrate, or in simple terminology, the food. So here the pine tree is getting benefit, the fungus is getting benefit, and we refer this relationship as a mutualism. Continuing in this particular part itself, we will be talking further certain examinations. Now here the point is, this is evolutionary example of mutualism where both have evolved simultaneously. This was done categorically because plants need the help of animals for pollinating their flowers, dispersing their seeds, whereas animals were in search of the food. So what we saw, that they started working together. Now get the work done. Plants also started attracting the animals to carry out the pollination or the work assigned, and they paid fees. There is a word fees which is mentioned out here. This fees is nothing but the food which is being provided in lieu of the work carried out by the animals. So the food is in terms will be referred as the nectar. So what they do? Plants offer rewards in the form of pollen and nectar for the pollinators and the juicy and nutritious fruit for the seed dispersers. Now seed dispersers, even we are working on this particular manner. Just now we had seen the season of mango, and here we were trying to get hold of those good quality products which were getting produced in nick and corner of the country. We purchased them, we ate the fruit, and the seed was dispelled. Now, the seed which we had thrown out, it is possible that one of it might be getting germinated, and this is the sole reason why the fruit was being offered to us so that we can eat it. So here we see the same thing, nutritious fruit for the seed dispersers. Mutually, here is the word but, mutually benefit system is safeguard against cheaters. Now who are these cheaters in the system? Cheaters are those animals which try to steal the nectar without aiding in pollination. And to overcome this particular problem, nature did something which we have also previously learned about co-evolution as far as the parasitism was concerned. So co-evolution of mutualist, so that only those animals are going to get benefited by the plants, those who are helping in pollination. Anyone or any organism which does not help in pollination, certain plants have devised a method to prevent them coming and collecting the nectar. Here there is a special mention about the wasp species and that of the fig plant. Now fig requires certain insects which need to transfer the pollen grains, and they want specific ones who will do the transfer of pollen. The pollination is being carried out by the partner species and no other species will be doing it. And why is it being co-evolved? So that those cheaters, as mentioned in the book, does not take away the pollen without carrying out the pollination. How this partner relationship evolved? The female wasp used fruit as oviposition, that is egg laying site. This egg laying site or the fruit which is going to develop will provide the nutrition for the larvae. It means the wasp, specific wasp, which is helping in pollination of the fig, is allowed to use certain fruits which have developed so that the female wasp can lay the egg. Once the eggs are hatched, larvae is going to get produced. Those larvae will require the food, and the food intake will be the fruit in which they have been born. In return, wasps are carrying out the pollination. This way, both are getting benefited. The species continue of the fig and the species continue of the wasp. Another beautiful example is given about the diversity of floral patterns which is seen in orchids. Now, it's not so that in the animal world, the animals only are the one who are doing a false statement or doing the cheating. Even plants have evolved a mechanism where they try to fool the animals. Here the mention is about the insect, where Mediterranean orchid, which is Ophrys, employs sexual deceit. Now why the word sexual deceit is mentioned? One petal of its flower bears a very uncanny resemblance. You cannot actually differentiate the female of the bee in size, color and marking. Now this means the petal will be acting as a method of luring the male insect. The male bee is going to get attracted and perceive that as a female and do copulation, imagining that the petal itself is the bee, and this is false copulation. Hence the method used out here is, or the word used out here is, the pseudo copulates with the flower. While it is doing the copulation, the dusting of the pollen grain takes place on the body of the bee, which is going to carry it to the next flower, which again will be doing a sexual deceit. When this bee comes, pseudocopulates with another flower, it transfers pollen to it, and thus pollination do take place. Now here, the bee is not getting any benefit out of it. It actually has to search for the real bee, but while searching for it, unknowingly it has transferred a lot of pollen grains from one flower to another, and orchids has got the species running. Now with this, we have concluded the particular chapter where we had learnt about the types of organisms, how the population is going to get formed, how population interact, and the various questions which were related to it. Further, we will be continuing with the next chapter in the next session, where you will come across the new questions pertaining to the next chapter, and that happens to be the ecosystem. But it will be for the next time. Till then, see you around.